I'm not sure it's more professional, but we've probably already on now. Right, let's have a look at guys, see if we're already on. Dave, why don't you talk at the same time so we can sync the audio?
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look. Let's check we're live, Dave.
We are.
I'm sure we'll. How come you always get notified before me? Do you get a pop-up or something?
Yeah, it's on my phone.
Nice. Is it a high-tech notification of on your mobile, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, hey everyone. Andy and Dave here from EverTrek HQ with the last Tuesday tune-in of what's been a pretty crazy 2020. Yeah, it was. Today was. We were going to do something different, but we were like, look, it's a crazy year. We're going to do, a bit of everything really. We've had a few questions come in, so we'll take on them, and we know that heaps of questions drop in as always. If you do drop in, do mention, do say hello, do give us a little thumbs up just to mention that you're here. I can already see a few people coming in. Dave, Mark,
loads.
Lord James, Jishu, Paul, Joel, Julie, Paul again. Chris, Alan, Dave, Carl, great. Thanks for joining us, guys. And Mikiko as well, and Jim again. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you all.
Mikiko, is that? I think is that Ali San Fran friend? I might have got that wrong.
I believe, Mikiko's from the US. Yeah, he's from over the water, over the pond. One of our US customers. So yeah, welcome. Great to see people tuning in from all over. But Dave, 2020, it's been a little bit interesting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's been so much fun. All of my plans, every single one of them, were undone. But nevertheless, we've had an awesome. I think one of the good things to come out of it is this here format. This is our 40th Tuesday tune-in.
It is, yeah, our 40th today, which is absolutely crazy, really. Thinking there's 40. I mean, it's been 36 weeks, but we've done a couple in 1 week. So yeah, this is number 40. So it's pretty cool. And like you said, Dave, one of the big positive things this year, and as always, we always like to come from it from the positive angle. We realise that this year not always been positive stuff because of the good old our good friend CV19. But yeah, when we started, it's pushed us into doing more virtual stuff, which is why we've done more of these lives. And we hope that everyone that's tuning in here, everyone that's joined us before. That it's been useful, and we're certainly going to continue in 2021.
Exactly. Yeah, this is great. I love it. So yeah, Makiko, San Francisco. Oh, we've got Shona as well. Shona's on.
Shona's on.
My good friend Shona. Shona. Just saying that.
We'll never forget your name, Shona. Now we know, how to say it correctly. But yeah, it's finally good to get your name right. After all this time, you've kind of been an EverTrekker for what was it, 2 years?
I know. I can't believe after all of this, you let it hang. Was it one of those things, where it's like you let it go once, and then it was too long, and then you finally decided I've got an opening last week to correct it.
She did. Well, with all there was a bunch of names coming in, and we were like, okay, right, that's how you say that one, and we were definitely a corrections day.
Yeah. Exactly. So, Cital, will we be doing these tune-ins in the new year? Well, of course.
Absolutely.
This is now a permanent feature of everyday life. So it doesn't matter where we are in the world. Every Tuesday at 12:30 GMT, we will be going live.
Yeah. We will.
We love this. It's great.
Well, we realised, we had some of the numbers, and we've had over, which was pretty, for us, we were thinking, okay, we'll have a look at the numbers, but we've had over 150,000 people join in over the last 36 weeks, which is amazing, really. And we hope that, every one of you has seen some value. Hey, Brian, I just saw your comment coming in. It's obviously great to see some of the regulars, but we do get some new people jumping in and people who sort of only see EverTrek now, and they go, wow, okay, I'll throw my question in. And, people who book it in, because we've started doing this back in, I think it was April. In December now, and we've had people book in for say Killy and other trips and join the community, and it's it's great to see all those questions come in. Yeah. We try and change it up a little bit. Clearly, there's things that we like Dave. I know you love chatting about equipment. We always like chatting on the fitness side of it. We try and make it a little bit interactive, and Next year we got a couple of things. I think someone asked, I think it was you, Julie. Hey, Julie, Dallo, thanks for joining us about the altitude centre. Yeah, we were planning to do it in December actually, but with all the different tiers, more tiers than weddings at the moment, isn't it? So yeah, we're kind of definitely having to be flexible with that. And in terms of going to London, it wasn't really possible for us from Wales.
Yeah.
Although we would have loved to have gone. We did have one of our customers, and I think Mr. Meacher, if you're on, I did see your name earlier. He had the pleasure of going to the Altitude Centre, I believe it was last week.
Yep.
And it was typical as well because he had one of our T-shirts arrive the day after he went, and we were like, oh, typical. But yeah, Paul, put some comments of how it went, mate. Tell everyone how it went with the Altitude Centre. I had an email from Sam, who runs the Altitude Centre this morning, actually, and he said you were great. I think you had your PT with you. And he said you're super fit, mate, so you've got no problems. Just he did say slow down because as always, the what does he like to say, Dave? The turtle always goes further at altitude than the hare, right?
Well, it was when I was in I think my first time in Nepal, and the guide told me that the turtle is faster than the rabbit.
That's it. Yeah, that's
so that has replaced tortoise and hare in my lexicon now. So that's it. Yeah, the turtle is faster than the rabbit always. But no, it's awesome. I mean, I think we're very lucky. We went out to what's it? I think probably my highlight of the year. Literally, well, I have to choose Kilimanjaro in February, which was the last normal thing I did. Weirdly. So after that it was all just we came back into COVID, and but that was the only altitude that we've actually got this year was going up to, I say the only altitude, it's nearly 6,000 meters, so it's a bit of a beast. And I mean, I'll never forget Summit Day on Kilimanjaro. That's one hell of a 24. I say 24 hours. I was awake for way more than that, but that was a beast.
Just while we're on, I just saw Jerome's comment there. As an early Christmas present, can either of the Yetis pronounce my name with a French accent? He's half French on his mother's side. Dave, you any good at French accents?
Jerome? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah.
Jerome Ito? Is that good for you, Jerome?
I just want to say that was not French, mate. that was not. I don't know what that was.
Probably half Australian. Everything comes out Australian with me sometimes. So yeah, apologies on that one, Jerome. But I gave it my best, mate. With accents, we're trying.
Yeah, awesome. So, and let's because this one we're sort of like, we're going to just do like a bit of a roundup of the year. Yeah. It's open to you guys as well, so any questions you want to ask about any subject in the world, then you can fire it over and we'll get through as many of them as we can. But Andy, what's been your highlight of the year so far, do you reckon?
I mean, Kili was cool. I mean, I also went to Morocco in February. Although this year has been nuts, I kind of had it early on. I was quite lucky. But I think ultimately, highlights of the Tuesday tune-in, if we're focusing on that as well, is it was great to I think we had 27,000 people on one live, which was pretty nuts. We were obviously it was all around Kilimanjaro. That was one of the highlights. I think having the guys here from Brecon Mountain Rescue and them talking about what they do was really good. One of my highlights. I think it's always been, there was one, the good, the bag, and the ugly. I remember doing that one. We talked about bags. Complete load of kit.
Yeah, complete load of kit. Yeah, that was mine.
I remember that live. I do blame you, Dave, for I think down jackets going out of stock around the UK because the amount of times you mentioned down jackets. I think you've done well there.
Yeah, honestly, I'm this close to like emailing sort of mounting equipment, RAB and stuff like that, and saying maybe a little bit of commission, lads, maybe a discount code or something, but no, it's been amazing. I think all the kit questions has been super fun because it's my most favorite part of any trip. I always like to try and buy something new on every trip that I go, even though I don't need anything anymore. But it is my favorite bit, and I've seen a couple of people saying they're getting all their kit ready for next year. That's me. I start packing my bag like 12 months in advance. And absolutely love it. I'm a bit gutted we didn't get to do any training weekends that we wanted to do. We really had some good plans for those, and but hopefully next year we're going to get some get some out there and get some of you guys on the training weekend, because that's awesome. That's another time I get to pack for base camp, because every training weekend we do, I don't just throw on my boots and my bag. I have to pack for base camp, don't I? And then I dump my bag in the middle of the room, and I'm like, right, have at it. Have a look.
Yeah.
And that's what.
No, you're right. You're right with the training weekends. It's been something that we've missed this year, because the last 3.5, 4 years, we've been running them, and it's always great to meet people. And this is why virtually I feel like it's nice to connect with all of our EverTrekkers, especially starting the Tuesday tune-in. Which has been really great from our perspective. Connecting with everyone here, because the only other time we get to do it, because we're obviously running the business, is on the training weekends, or like a travel show like the one we do in London, which was is cancelled for next year. But it's certainly been great from that point of view, connecting with you guys. But we hope as well that you've had some value from it. Some of the things we've talked about, we've talked loads of different subjects. We hope that it was kind of well-rounded enough. We know there's stuff we want to talk about more, and as we do more different types of trips, we started clearly with Nepal and Everest Base Camp, and we've kind of evolved a bit now in terms of where we operate. And it's something that we always want to provide more value of going forward. So we're always keen to make it fun as well for next year. But Dave, we'll crack on with we had some questions by email first. I think we always like to start with those because they come in, and I know Lauren has dropped them in our little WhatsApp group here. So first one is from Sophie Arthur. Hey Sophie. Hey Andy and Dave, do people wash any clothes? I thought she was going to say, do people wash on the trek? Which is definitely a no. No, there's some showers. Do people wash any clothes whilst on the EBC trek, or do people just wear the same ones for the whole trip? Dave?
I don't wash any of my clothes for the whole trip, and I think the vast majority, like 99% of people, don't bother, because they're only going to be clean for about the first 10 minutes, and then you're going to be hiking in them. And I think with the development stuff like merino wool, so all of my socks and boxers and stuff that I wear now, and even my base layers tend to be merino wool. So they move all the sweat off their, what do they call it now? Antimicrobial or something like that. So they don't smell, they last a lot longer. So, one wear, what it used to be one wear, and then they were kind of cooked, is like now you can get like 3 or 4 days out of them. Also, it's just the added faff of, it's probably quite easy to do on the first few days, but that's when you need it the least. So actually later on, having to wash and everything. I have seen people. I went trekking with Billy. My first ever trip I did to Everest Base Camp. A friend of mine, Billy, came, and he was washing his pants and his socks, and then using his rucksack as like a human washing line to dry them. Which made for some weird looks, to be honest, as he was, trying to take a cool picture in front of Everest with his pants blowing in the wind like some sort of weird Superman cape. Personally, I think don't bother with it. There's no need. What you can do is, and it was actually Mick, when I met Mick Hamilton, who's on here now, I believe, going to Island Peak next year, showed me this tube of spray, something fresh or too fresh or something. They sell it on Amazon. Mick, if you can tell us what it is, that'd be awesome. And actually, I buy it every time. And if you want to, you just spray your clothes with it, leave them hanging up, and then the next day they smell clean and lovely, and they're a lot cleaner than when you started. So if you need anything, get a spray like that. I wouldn't be too fussed on washing anything. And the same goes for yourself. If you want to, great. If you can't be bothered, great. Disposable, biodegradable wet wipes are pretty much all I use now on any trip. You do get showers probably in Namche on the way down. I grab a shower, and in Lukla and stuff like that. The rest of the time, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, good point, Dave. I think you do see people with carrying their they wash their clothes and stuff. And some people do it, because it's kind of nice to have some fresh clothes. But in the Everest region or in Nepal, it's very difficult to keep it from to keep it if it's wet, it's very difficult to get it dry. Even though there's so much sun, for some reason it just doesn't work. But and as Dave said, with showers, it depends on the weather, but because they are few and far between. But Namche is kind of the place really we can have a shower. Battle on to base camp and back, or to Island Peak or back, the high passes, and then look forward then to when you I just saw Bry Here we are, dry wash spray. There we go.
Day to dry. Day to dry. That's it. Yeah, day to dry.
Day to
Brilliant.
dry.
Yeah, Mick showed it to me. On the training weekend, first time when I met Mick, and ever since then I've used it. I actually took it to Kathmandu and sprayed loads of my clothes in the hotel as well. It's brilliant. It smells great as well.
Nice. Okay, I'll have to test that out. Next trek, I am testing that out, Mick. So I will get some definitely to trial it. Right. Next question. We had Julie. How likely is it EBC trips will go ahead next spring in a COVID safe way? Yeah, we've had numerous conversations last couple of weeks. Especially with Anuj, who's our Nepal sort of operations manager. I know he works really closely with Dave in terms of how we operate our trips and when. Again, it's still all good for the spring as it has been. We're still planning to go ahead, but we have to sort of say as well, it has changed in the last week in terms of the situation here in the UK, and I know that, like especially here in Wales, it's getting a bit out of hand. I know that certain parts of England as well, and I think Scotland's pretty good at the moment. And I know a lot of people here are from all over, so it's not these places. But yeah, so we have to be cautious of that. We're definitely trying to keep our finger on the pulse in terms of will it be okay? And yeah, we're just the same. We'll let you know as close as we can. To your trip to say, okay, cool, it's going to happen. I mean, we are really flexible. If we have one person on a trip, it runs. We have done that in the past, and we know that a lot of you have pushed your trips. But we do have our COVID sort of promise, if you like, that you can move your trips if the uncertainty is not kind of for you and you want to move it. That's where we're at, and there's no charge for that at all. We do it free. And don't forget, you've got the lifetime deposits with us. We've got the flexibility around how you pay for our trips. So we're trying to be as flexible as we can, whilst remaining, a company and a business as well. We obviously have a great relationship with you guys, and we want to help you. We're trekkers like you. We want to get back to these places, but there's certain things in place at the moment that's making it difficult for everyone still, which is nuts. We say we're on our 40th episode. We didn't think it'd last this long, and although we've it got to sort of, what was it like? I think it was like July, and we were like, cool, okay, we came out of the first sort of lockdown, and we were like, well, we're going to continue these anyway going forward. And then we've come back into lockdowns and out of lockdowns and back into lockdowns, and it's kind of been up and down like that. So yeah, it's the same. I'm afraid that's kind of where we're at, Dave. Unless you got anything else to add, mate.
No, I don't think so. I mean, well, one thing I think is that obviously Trek's going ahead in the spring.
Yeah.
It seems to me now that the biggest barrier is going to be obviously what the UK are doing and whether they allow us to travel and what their lockdowns mean, and whether we're all doing it as one country or whether it's going to be sort of all separated again. So you guys know as much as we do on that front. The only thing I would add is that I myself am planning on going out there sort of in January or February if I can, ahead of the season, to kind of like get a feel for everything and basically carry out risk assessments for COVID and do all of that stuff, so we can make sure that if we do go ahead, that it's all going to be in line with everything that we need to do to keep you guys safe and healthy and get the best trek you can and stuff like that. So we are doing everything that we can to try and make it happen. I mean, it has to happen. I mean, I desperately want to get out there now and do some trekking. I miss Nepal, and I miss traveling quite badly at the moment. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I mean, the mountains aren't going anywhere, and neither are we. So, the trips will go ahead. We just might have to just, like I said, jump through some hoops and choose the right time to make it happen.
It's light at the end of the tunnel now, isn't it? I think we can all sense that, especially with the vaccine coming in, that'll speed up the process of getting on with stuff. But how quick that vaccine is brought in is clearly, again, it's just, that's a guessing game right now. But I can see the light. You can almost feel the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of opening up travel again once the vaccine's in place for the general population, or at least the high risk people.
Exactly.
But and it's a good question, and I know it gets asked a lot, and it has done over the last 9 months. We obviously, we'd love to say, right, guys, 100%, we're going here. And although our trips are going ahead, it's it's not exactly been 100% all year.
Yeah.
So we have to remain a little bit flexible around that. And I know you're all really excited to go, like we are. So just we'll obviously let you know any big updates. We'll let you know
Awesome.
on that.
Yeah, moving on. Jonathan has asked sleeping accommodation in the tea houses. So I'm assuming he means on the EBC trip. Are we in rooms or on the floor in a common room? So no, you have your own room on a twin sharing basis. So 2 people per room. No sleeping on floors or anything like that. That's on the EBC trip. If you're going on Kilimanjaro, it's going to be tents. Again, 2 to a tent. We are looking at potentially providing single tents. Although it's going to be pretty difficult to, we're going to have to be our own little bubble when we are traveling, because, when you're eating and trekking together, you're naturally going to be, come into close contact. But just in terms of trying to limit that as much as possible, we might be introducing like single tents on our Kilimanjaro trip, something that we're looking at, and I'm talking to the guys out in Tanzania about. Again, it's just, I mean, on its own, it might not have like a huge difference, but all these little tiny things that we can do to try and make the trip safer in the COVID era is going to be really helpful. So yeah, hopefully we're going to be able to do that.
Nice, Dave.
Yeah,
nice. Lee Stevenson has asked about, sorry to ask this, probably been answered many times, but what is the procedure for travel bags? Do we need to have a certain type, duffel? Do you want to buy what you want? Does it get left at the hotel? Just around the procedure. So yeah, with just focus on the pool for a sec. With regards to your bag, you do get a duffel bag when you arrive, which is an EverTrek duffel bag. So you can bring whatever you want. So if it was a suitcase or a backpack, anything like that, you can bring your own duffel bag. And then what you can do is then you can leave some stuff at the hotel in Kathmandu. Clean clothes, any souvenirs you buy, maybe stuff that you realize when you get there, okay, I don't really need that, I'm going to leave that here. And then the rest of it goes in the EverTrek duffel, and then that's what's carried by the porters when you're on your trip. So any trip in the pool, that's how that works. With Tanzania, very, very similar. So you do leave a bag at the hotel, and you can actually hire local bags there. So it's a little bit different, because in the pool, we've obviously been doing that for a very long time now. We've got a lot of items there, which is why we have the bags and the t-shirts and things like that. But we do have a store at the hotel. It's very nominal cost to hire duffel bags and bits and pieces out there. So you can pretty much do the same. So you can leave your suitcase or your bag and then use like a local duffel bag. And that's the one that the porters carry on your Kilimanjaro trip. Very similar in Morocco. So you can leave again at the hotel, because especially if you're on the 8-day Toubkal trip, you actually get 2 nights in Marrakesh, so you can again leave your bag there, and then the same when it goes to in Machu Picchu. So basically, when you're in Cusco, you can leave at the hotel. You can leave your bag at the hotel. Okay, so very, very similar. Although in the pool, you do get your EverTrek duffel bag, which people tend to like, and we'll try to roll that out on all of our trips. But that's taking a little bit of time at the moment. But yeah, we'll update you on that as well. But yeah, good question. Next question, Dave.
So yeah, looking at through here, I think that's the bulk of the email ones.
Yes.
It's a quick question, Julie Dallow. I think we answered that one. Yes, we will be doing a live from the Altitude Center as soon as travel is feasible. Then we've got, Jerome asking about potentially in French, and I think we failed miserably. Apologies to the French and anyone listening. How much of the training weekend? So the training weekends, I think Lauren put a link to those in there. So it depends on which one you want to go on. And so if you go in on, I believe it's 295, 395, and 495. So a 295 is basically me and Andy run those along with some of the other guys. And although we call them training weekends, there's no technical training on those ones.
No.
We really do what's kind of a dry run for base camp. So we'll go on some hikes, we'll practice the mountain pace, teach you about pacing yourself on the mountain, but it's all walking. And then we basically turn you into sort of an expert before you go on your trip. So whether it's Kili or base camp and you want to know about equipment, packing, weights of things, flights, basically you've got, it's like a Tuesday tune-in, but it's 3 days long. and very close to you. And then up from that, we have Steve, who's an affiliation with us at Aim Higher. and he's a qualified mountain guide, and he does the technical training and mountaineering training and things like that. So if you're looking to go to, you know, Island Peak or Mera Peak or something along those lines, then he's going to be able to teach you how to do that with crampons, ice axes, winter training, navigation, all of that good stuff. And he does that in Snowdon or Scotland. Yeah, Steve's an awesome guy, like ex-Marine, fully qualified mountain guide. He is up there with the best of them, and we're lucky to have him providing you guys with our training. Yeah, hopefully that's answered that one.
I just saw Ken's little question there, which was hilarious. How's the plenty of Yetis rather than plenty of fish thing going? We thought it was called Trekking Tinder, to be honest, Ken. You know, instead of plenty of Yetis, but that's a good definitely a good idea. It's a good going.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I've just had Jen trying to call me then, but I have to finish that. Tell her I'm on the live.
Yeah. So Jishu has said,
yes,
EBC is not about pole pole like Killy is. It is very much pole pole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's pastari in Nepal. So basically, slowly is what he's referring to there. That is applicable to any time that you go to altitude. You know, it's part of, you need to think of speed as a tool that you use to acclimatize. So we know lots of people like to go fast, they like to push themselves and stuff like that. Well, there are loads and loads and loads of mountains across the world that you can do that to. But whenever you go to high altitude, you need to have, you know, your thinking cap on, and basically all the time be thinking about, you don't want to get sick, you don't want to experience altitude sickness, you want to be strong and powerful when you're at high altitude. And in order to do that, you need to do a few things. Firstly, you need to gain your altitude gradually. And that applies not just when you're feeling it, but when you're not feeling it. So if I take the first few days of, say, Kilimanjaro, for instance, up to Big Tree and Shira 1, you won't feel the altitude at all. It'll just feel like a normal day's trekking, but that doesn't mean that it's not, your body's not starting to register it. And if you push really hard on those early days, when you get up to like Lava Tower and on the summit, you are going to be way less powerful and way less strong than those people that, you know, took it easy. And that applies to every one of our trips. The other things you need to do is hydrate and eat well. And there's a few other things as well, but just that's why we go pastari, pole pole. That's why we do that.
Yeah, nice. Jerome was asking how to spell it. I think it's B-I-S-T-A-R-I, I believe. So it's pretty close, Jerome. Just replace the E's with with I's, and I think you're there. Give it a little Google. I'm sure that's I've written it down heaps of times. I'm sure that's how they spell it. But yeah, good question. A couple of people, I think it's Diane. Hey Diane, great to see you on the live as always. And Marie as well, asking about the January training weekend. And again, we know that I think especially over Christmas there's going to be some announcement for Wales in terms of a lockdown. So we're going to have to wait and see for that. If that comes in, then we'll have to move that training weekend because you know there will be a proper lockdown. You know, but we'll let you know as soon as we know, guys. You know, with regards to that, at the moment it's going ahead because we want to come on these. But and again, it depends on where you're coming from as well, doesn't it? So depending on what tier you're in, also depends on if you can come as well. You know, but I'm happy to chat about that individually. You know, off the live and how you feel about that, and what your plans are. But yeah, officially, if it is a lockdown. Unfortunately, we won't be able to run the training weekends in the UK. You know, but we'll update you as soon as we know. There's rumours at the moment about it, and you know, you're never kind of sure what to believe. It's kind of, I know at Christmas the whole UK is doing the same, but I know probably after the Christmas period they might do the things separately again, which is a bit annoying, really.
Yeah,
but something we have to manage with that one.
Exactly. So Brian's asked,
yes,
usually drink Everest beer in Kathmandu. What's the drink of choice in Kili? Or not?
Very good.
Kilimanjaro. Believe it or not. So Kilimanjaro beer when you're on Kilimanjaro, Everest beer when you're on the Everest base camp trip. It's quite nice too, actually.
It's not bad. It's it's really good. I'd say, well, there's a couple of beers. There's also one called Serengeti, which is the national park where everyone goes on safari in Tanzania. And there's also is an elephant beer, isn't it? I forgot what it's called now. But those are the big ones: Serengeti and Kilimanjaro. And Bri, that'll sort your four friends out. They'll be fine. Yeah. But very, very good. Right, from what we got? March. I think Mark Beecroft is asking about March, again with the spring.
Yeah.
Looking at flights now. Should I wait until closer to the time? Yeah, it's a challenge. I know a lot of people have already booked flights for say March. Some people who are going in February actually, Mark. And at this moment in time, as we've mentioned, everything's going ahead. So if you do book it, it's completely up to you. With regards to that, I mean, waiting closer to the time just means that there might be a little bit of an increase in price. Dave, have you got any suggestions around that? Whether we should go for it now or Tusker? There we go.
If you're going in March, I'd be thinking about booking your flights now.
Yeah.
The reason being is because I kind of base things on it. So how I'm thinking about, the March, April, May, the spring trips is this: that at the moment, today, as it stands, the 15th of December, there's no information to say that those trips aren't going to go ahead. So we're proceeding like they are going to go ahead. Now, we know that even during lockdown, some flights do still leave. If there are flight problems and stuff like that, you should still be able to get a refund or a transfer. So there's a couple of tips with regards to flights. So if you're going to book them, have your insurance in place already. That's sort of protection level number one. Protection level number two, if you have a credit card or any type of card protection, book it that way, or PayPal, because you can, cancel transactions with those two ways. And that means that your money is never sort of spent unless you're actually getting what you pay for. And the third top tip that I have is book direct with the airline. Don't go through a agency or a price comparator. The reason is because although they are very good, and the rest of the year, I would say, 100% get the cheapest flight you can. If you go direct with the airline, the customer service you get and the understanding and the resource that they have to be able to look after you is so much greater than if you go through a smaller agency. For instance, I know people that booked directly with Qatar and they were given a refund immediately, or they were given like a credit note for them to spend on another flight when they can travel. And then I know someone else booked through an agency and they've got to wait 200 days for a refund, which is crazy. So yeah, those are my top tips, but I would be thinking about doing it now. To be honest, I think probably you could probably afford to wait till the new year. So get Christmas out, get sort of into the middle of January when you'll get a much sort of more clear picture of what the UK is doing after the Christmas period. I'd say it's all but certain there's going to be a lockdown after Christmas. It all depends on when that ends and what the restrictions are for you to be able to fly during that time are going to be. We don't know that because they don't tell us. But as soon as we know, we'll let you know. But you'll probably know when we do, because we get it from the same source, which is Bojo on the news. So we'll find out that, or occasionally Drakeford over here.
Yeah. So it depends where you hail from, but good point, Dave. Gavin has asked. Oh, that's all right. I'll start with Gavin. We appreciate the fact you've been keeping us in the loop. No, it can't be easy. Cheers, Gavin. Looking at the kit and stuff, is it likely we'll now need to get our own jacket, sleeping bag, as opposed to borrowing yours for the trek? It's a good question. I mean, we are looking at some ways, obviously, to reduce contact, things like that in country. There'll be an article soon we're going to be releasing, which has a few bits and bobs about our trips and what we're doing. And that's one of the things we did look at. I mean, naturally, they are cleaned after use. Not throw in the washing machine kind of thing, but cleaned, Nepalese standard. We realize, if you're kind of sharing jackets and things like that, it might be an issue. I think it's something that wasn't on our list really, Dave, was it, regarding the, in terms of sharing sleeping bags and things, because there's going to be gaps where they are being cleaned in the interim, right?
Yeah, so it's one of those things that I'm going to probably find out when I visit Nepal or beforehand, hopefully. Weirdly, it's to do with stock, you know what I mean? So we have a lot of jackets and things over there, and we have X number of customers that want to use them. So we have to try and manage a way to make sure that they're completely sort of cleaned and ready for use for the next person. There's a couple of ways you can do it. So one of them is obviously, like kind of sterilizing the jacket in a manner of speaking. So you can clean it with special sort of antiviral sprays, wipes and things like that. Another thing would be to sort of hold it in quarantine for like 3 days before you give it to the next person. But it all depends on the stock and the need. The one thing is that we are thinking about it. It is in the forefront of our mind, that and many other different things. Put it this way: if you want to rent a jacket or like a sleeping bag, we can still do it for you. Because we've the ability to get them.
You've got capacity.
Yeah, so we have got the capacity. So yeah, if you still want to borrow one for the trip and that's your plan, then rest assured it's going to be able to be done. How we do it is kind of, don't worry about that. That's on us. But we are taking it seriously. So it'll either be, like something that's not been used for a few days, something that's been sterilized, something that's, or both has happened. I'll find out exactly what's feasible given the situation in Nepal over the next sort of coming months, and have it all ready and set up for you guys. No worries. It kind of leads on to a nice new one as well. Where is it? So it's gone. Okay, Joel Palmer had a question last week. Not for him, but for a general one. Oh, okay. Asking for a friend, is it, Joel? Nice. When is the cutoff? When is the cutoff before travel to EBC to change dates? So I'm assuming you mean if you need to change a date, what's the deadline for you to be able to do it? It's a good question. And there's a couple of different answers. So if your trip has to be changed because of COVID, then there is no deadline. So you can contact us and we can change it for you. If the trip is going ahead and all things are a go and we're clear on both sides, but for some other personal related reason you need to change your trip, ideally we want it, I'll be honest with you, like at least a month's notice so we can manage the trips, and then we can postpone the date. If it's not related to COVID, I'll give you an example. We had a customer of ours that was due to go 2 days before he's due to travel. He contacts me and something happened in his personal life that meant he couldn't go. And the only thing we did there was, I think there was a small administration fee, just because we'd already booked his Lukla flights and his park fees and stuff like that. But other than that, we transferred it over. The one thing we're always very keen on to let you know is that when it comes to COVID, which I'm assuming is what your question is about, we do honor sort of our COVID promise, which is ultimate flexibility around your booking. So we know that there's a lot of big companies out there, not just in the travel industry, but that are not treating their customers that way, and we see how it happens. We've experienced it, and it's not what we want to do. So we want everybody to, when they book on a trip with EverTrek, they know they're going on a trip with EverTrek. That is done. That is, write that in stone. It is done. It's just a matter of getting you out there at the right time, and the right time for you to go is the right time for us to take you. So yeah, we'll be as flexible as we need to make sure that your trip can happen. Hopefully that's answered your question, and your mate can feel quite relaxed about that.
No, very nice, Dave. Yeah, no, very, very well put there. And just to reiterate that, but we hate to hide behind, oh, you have to give us 30 days notice. Life gets in the way. We realize that. Just we always ask for fairness, in terms of from us to you and you to us as well. So just let us know, and we can always do something. And that's fine. That goes with anything. I mean, especially if it was sort of a week before you went and you were like, oh crap, this happened, and we'd sort of look at it and say, okay, what's the best thing to do, and when can you come with us? We've had people who have turned up and they weren't allowed in the country for a mad reason. Their passport was I think they'd forgotten their passport was expired.
They went by
the day before, and so they couldn't come. We were like, look, no worries, we were going to get you there. What can we do? And there might be some costs that have gone out, and we'll work that out at the time and find out, okay, this we can work that out between us. We've done that before, so it's not a problem for us.
That was a nightmare, that one. His passport hadn't expired, but it was you've got
6 months.
6 months left, and I think he only had 2, so we had enough to do the trip. But that was crazy that they let him fly to China and then they turned him around when they got there. But he went out a few months later, I think, after that. So he that was early in the season, and we managed to put him on a later trip. But that was a barrel of laughs, that one. So let's have a look. Mick Hamilton, are there climbing fees for Island Peak? Certainly are, mate. You can't climb it for free, but you've paid them all already by booking on with us. So any fees, park fees, climbing fees, anything like that, and stuff it's all accounted for. So there are no like surprise costs or anything. No one, there's not like like a train station sort of turnstile at the front, where you've got to pay.
I think, Mick, it might be relevant. I think regarding the last question, was there any fees that we'd already paid? I think, Mick, if it was kind of last minute and in terms of the climbing permits that we purchased before you climb Island Peak, those can be transferred, mate. So, we can bump that down, to if I mean, I know hopefully this doesn't happen, Mick, because I know you've moved your trip a couple of times, mate, and I know you want to get out there. But yeah, I think in terms of your thinking beyond that question, if you if we had to bump it again and it was really last minute, there would be any fees relating to the permits, as far as I know, and obviously we'll double confirm that, but I'm certain that's with the permits you can move that.
Yeah, awesome.
That's not a problem for us.
That little administration fee as well was pre-COVID, and it was like a cancellation due to a personal problem 2 days before the trip was due to start. Which is slightly different. But awesome. Let's have
Lovely.
a quick look. Any other questions coming through, guys? Asked any other airlines that we recommend? To be honest, Jerome, the ones that you've mentioned, sort of Etihad, Qatar, Turkish Airlines, I think any of the big national airlines are probably the safest and the best to go with. To be honest, myself and Andy use Qatar almost exclusively now.
Yeah.
Partly because they fly from Cardiff, partly
a lot easier.
Yeah, well, and also once we started using them because they flew from Cardiff, we realized actually they're really easy to deal with. Qatar, Doha is a really nice airport. It's all relatively straightforward. So good airline to go with.
I think Scott McDean mentioned as well, and I know this with Qatar Airlines. I know they're not the cheapest airline in the world, but they're really good from a customer service point of view. And I think Scott's mentioned there, he booked Qatar for EBC March, and you can change your ticket anytime for 18 months, no charge, which is pretty awesome, really.
Yeah.
If anyone's in that sort of mind now, okay, do I book flights? Do I hold off? If you're thinking of maybe spending an extra £100 with Qatar, just to have that peace of mind that you can move it. I mean, in my eyes, no brainer. Just to have that, if you can move your tickets, at short notice, which at the moment anything can happen at the drop of a Trilby hat. You know what I mean? So it's certainly
Trilby or.
Well, any hat, beanie, your North Face cap, mate. Any. Sorry, it just came to my head. Random hat.
I've never heard that phrase before. I don't think
I've read it a couple of days ago, and it's just the first thing that came out.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. So,
very good.
Have a quick look. So I just saw a question.
Jishu just asked, because he asked this earlier, and I think we've dusted over a bit. What's your number one on your bucket list? Dave, what's number one on your bucket list? What's next for you, mate?
Okay, so it depends whether are we going to do it in order of what I'm going to do? So my next thing I'm going to put on my bucket list, the next big one, I think would probably be Aconcagua for me. Number one on the bucket list, not in time, is Mount Everest. It's what initially drew me to the Himalayas, was a fascination with the climbing stories of Everest, going right back to the early attempted, Mallory and Irvine and then Hillary and all those awesome stories and stuff like that. It was the daring do of those days that really sort of like drew me in, and it had that pull of being the highest place on earth, which no matter how many people go there, no matter how commercialized the mountain gets, nothing will ever take away the fact that when you stand on top of there's nothing but sky above you. That's always been a bit romantic for me, standing on the highest bit on earth. And there'll be a moment, I'm sure, where, because what it's like on a summit, each person kind of goes up to get their picture. There'll be a moment when you're just stood there alone, highest man on earth, and that's always sort of drawn me there. It's always going to be number one on the bucket list until it's ticked off. But the next on the bucket list is probably Aconcagua.
Yeah, it's a biggie, isn't it? I know we've both got it on the list. For me, I'm just trying to think now what's next on my bucket list. I think Aconcagua and seeing Patagonia and bits of Argentina is certainly big on my list right now. As soon as we are allowed to travel and take some leave, I'll certainly be off to South America. But you know what? I've this year especially really missed Nepal. Just the energy, and I know we were really lucky to get a couple of groups out before the lockdown hit. I think Bry's on here now, and he's stuck in Kathmandu for 10 days. With Everest beer, there's worse things to happen out there, Bry. But I was slightly jealous. But no, I can't wait to go back to Nepal to see some of our, all of our guides really, and just see how they're getting on, the families, but also just seeing the back to the Khumbu region. It's one of my favorite places in the entire world. So I can't wait to get back there really.
Awesome.
And bucket lists can change, but Everest is, if you were going to measure things on your bucket list, and I think I'm with Dave on that.
Yeah, well said.
Certainly the big one.
Well said about Nepal, mate, as well. It probably is my favorite place in the world. You know,
Yeah.
very honored to be able to go there as often as I can, but it's stressing me out that we haven't been this year. I need to go in every year, as long as for a long time now. But actually, Shona has actually asked a really good question. I get so much joy out of getting her name correct. If actually no, that's an answer to a question. So
she always provides answers. She's great.
Yeah, so Dave actually asked the question, which was great places to visit in Kathmandu. Shona's one about Bhaktapur there is a really good idea. We take you. There's a couple of different places you can go. So I know me and Andy really love. You'll go there anyway as part of the tour, but Budanath, the big stupa of Budanath, is one of our favorite.
I love going there
after the trip as well. So we go there on our own time, and it's relaxed.
Yeah, Paula, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paula.
Nice, super. And we like to go there, but another place is it Pashnupashnath?
Pashnupashnath,
which is actually it sounds quite dark, but actually it's really fascinating. Which is it's a Hindu temple on the banks of a river that's connected to, it's a tributary of the Ganges, so it's a sacred river where they do the funeral rites and cremations on the side. So we can't get into the temple, but we're allowed on the other side. So you witness that, and it is you'll witness the washing of the bodies and then the cremation itself and stuff. And actually it's quite fascinating and nice to see how other people's deal with the end of life. So that's a great place to go. We don't always go there, depending on how much time we have. But that's one thing that we like to do at the end.
There's certainly. I mean, it's always good just to go for explore as well. I mean, Kathmandu is amazing. If you've ever been to an Asian city, Kathmandu hasn't really got like a business district really. It's all really like old streets, kind of the way I'd think of it. Imagine if you're Indiana Jones and you've got all these old buildings that are kind of leaning into the streets, and you're kind of you're on a bit of an adventure. And honestly, Kathmandu is a great place just to walk and explore. And obviously don't forget the good old Google Maps or a map so you can find your way back. But which you can always stop and get a taxi, and it's really safe city. But the best thing is just get on your 2 feet, crack on, go and explore. You'll love it.
I remember I love the taxis out there. And do you remember when you guys went to that Pashtupashnath and I started feeling a bit rough, so I got in a taxi and went back to the hotel.
That's right.
And he asked, when I got there, it was something like 400 rupees, but I didn't have any change on me, so I gave him 1,000, which is
a lot.
A lot. The next day when I leave, he's outside my hotel. Brother, where do you want to go?
Yeah, he liked you.
I miss that about Nepal, though, to be honest with you. I miss that. And it's one of those crazy cities. I remember last October, a friend of ours, Edwin, who went over there, and he arrived there 2 days before I got there. And Anuj was texting me going, Edwin's crazy. He's made friends of all the rickshaw drivers and stuff like that. And as a result, when I arrived at the hotel, there was a line of rickshaw drivers just waiting for Edwin to come out. And but it's all very friendly, and it's an amazing time.
Brilliant. I've just got a couple of questions on the WhatsApp group as well. I think someone's asked around a couple of different times of year to go to EBC. Someone's asked about November 1st. Which is personally my favorite time to go trek into Everest Base Camp. I've done a trek twice in November to Everest Base Camp, and it's fantastic. I think it's quite dry. It's colder because you're sort of sneaking towards winter. Because of the time of year as well, it's always really good if you're into your nighttime photography. With the Milky Way is always visible generally at the times I've been out there. It's a little bit quieter. And plus also you get the festivals. The only downside to go in that time of year really is that there's nothing really at base camp. If you go in the spring, sometimes September, October, you might see the odd tent, especially obviously in the spring when it's summit season. You'll see Everest Base Camp as it is, as you can imagine it, with all the tents and all the different things, the prayer flags. Whereas if you go in November, it's just a glacier. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
But essentially that's what it is. It's a place on the map. It's an amazing time to get there. But it's all the stuff in between that you do to get there that it will stay with you, and from the experience, and which will add way more than just the time you have at base camp, which can only be a couple of hours. And it's great to get there. It's an amazing achievement, but it's Was it you used to say, Dave? It's about the land. Go on, I'll let you say, because
The land, the people, and the suffering.
which I thought was a great way of putting it.
Yeah, I love going to Everest Base Camp, but realistically, it's just an X on a map that gives you a convenient excuse to trek in the Himalaya for 11 days. You know, like you ask anyone that's gone to and visited base camp on the chopper tour, it's not a special. You know, it's what you do to get there that actually makes the trip. And yeah, that's why I love it. It's the journey, not the destination, you know, that makes all the difference.
All about the journey, Dave.
I've just noticed Marie Pritchard has said the same thing. So yeah, absolutely. It's about the journey, not the destination. And that's, we live by that, and don't we? That's your favorite saying, and it's one we've actually got on the wall in
that room in there, yeah, in shiny blue letters, yeah.
It is
awesome. But right, Dave, right, okay. Well, I feel like we're kind of the right time to finish now. I know we've covered loads of questions today. Any we haven't, I'll go through like we normally do. But yeah, I suppose this year, 2020, you know, it is what it is. It's been nuts, it's been crazy, but you know, we're looking ahead now. 2021 will be an amazing year, I'm sure. I'm almost guessing it might be challenging for the first month or two, but I can't wait to get back to the mountains, and we will. Just a matter of time. I can't wait, Dave.
Yep.
Oh, it's been emotional this year, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't believe like 40 tune-in Tuesdays ago we started it.
Yeah.
But actually, you know, that's probably been the biggest thing to come out of this year, is that we started this as a way just to stay connected with the EverTrekkers, stay connected with the community. We didn't really even, I'll be honest with you, we didn't exactly sit there and plan a whole strategy around it. We just wanted to kind of, you know, be visible and talk to you guys and answer some questions. And we thought, oh, we'll try it once or twice, see how it goes. And like Andy said, you know, it's become this great thing. You know, we see the same names, we see new names. You know, sometimes they blow up, and you know, over 150,000 views. It's been insane. So we're definitely going to keep it going. It's now a permanent feature of the EverTrek landscape. So you know, every Tuesday, 12:30, you know where to find us.
Great stuff. Well, yeah, Merry Christmas. Have an amazing time off, whatever you're doing. Absolute pleasure this year, and we'll see you in 2021 for some awesome adventures. Our office is closing end of play on the 17th, so on Thursday. Yeah, you know, as always, I'm kind of regularly available anyway, but the team will be off over Christmas period. So any questions you do need answering, get them in before Thursday so we can help before we break up for Christmas. And we're back in again on the 4th, and then we'll be doing a Tuesday tune-in that week. But in the interim, it's been fantastic, and yeah, namaste.
Awesome.
Cheers, mate. All right, cheers, guys. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.